The morning mist clung to the crystalline spires of Zephyria Prime like tears on glass. Kethara knelt beside the small mound of luminescent stones, her 4 arms wrapped around her trembling form. The grave marker pulsed with a soft blue light, the traditional color of mourning among her people, the Veltari. "My little Zixs," she whispered, her voice carrying the harmonic undertones that marked deep grief in her species. "I should have been faster. I should have saved you." 200 meters away, hidden behind the emergency medical station's blast doors, Dr. James Mitchell watched the alien mother through the reinforced window. His hands were steady now, but they had shaken violently 3 days ago when he'd made the most controversial decision of his career. "She doesn't know," Lisa Chen said softly, joining him at the observation deck. The xenobiologist's usually pristine lab coat was wrinkled from 3 days of nonstop work. "How long do we keep this from her?" James turned from the window, his weathered face showing every one of his 50 years. The former combat medic had seen enough death to last several lifetimes, but watching a mother grieve for a child who wasn't actually dead had broken something inside him. "The Council of Worlds made their position clear," he replied, his voice hoarse. "Zixs is classified as deceased. Any attempt to reveal the truth constitutes a violation of the non-interference doctrine." Lisa's dark eyes flashed with anger. The non-interference doctrine was written by politicians, not doctors. "We saved a child's life, James. We brought them back from clinical death using human medical techniques that their species hasn't developed yet. How is that wrong?" The memory was still fresh in James's mind. The Veltari child had been caught in an industrial accident, a plasma conduit explosion that had reduced the youngster's crystalline exoskeleton to fragments. By all Veltari medical standards, Zixs was dead. Their life force readings had flatlined, their bioluminescent patches had gone dark, and their core temperature had dropped to ambient levels. But James had seen something the Veltari doctors had missed. His combat experience in the outer colonies had taught him to recognize life signs that alien medical scanners couldn't detect. The faint neural activity, the barely perceptible cellular regeneration patterns. Signs that would mean nothing to a Veltari physician but everything to a human medic who'd pulled dozens of soldiers back from death's door. "The Veltari don't understand mammalian resuscitation techniques," James had explained to the emergency council 3 days ago. "Their crystalline biology is fundamentally different from carbon-based life forms. What they call death might just be a form of extreme hibernation that human medicine can reverse." The council had been unmoved. Ambassador Thexerin had made the official declaration, "The child is dead by our medical standards. To claim otherwise would imply that human medicine is superior to our own, a diplomatic impossibility that could destabilize the entire sector alliance." So James had made his choice. He'd used an untested combination of human stimulants, electrical resuscitation, and cellular regeneration therapy. For 18 hours, he and Lisa had worked in secret, supported only by a handful of human medical staff who understood what was at stake. Zixs had opened their large, iridescent eyes at 0342 ship time. "Dr. Mitchell," came a small, melodic voice from behind them. Both humans turned to see Zixs approaching, their young form moving with the fluid grace characteristic of their species. The child's exoskeleton had regrown in patches of brilliant emerald and gold, colors that indicated perfect health in Veltari physiology. "How are you feeling today, little one?" Lisa asked, kneeling to the child's level. Zix's species aged differently than humans, but they estimated the equivalent of a 7-year-old human child. "I feel strange," Zixs replied in their limited, standard. "I remember sleeping, then waking with you. But Mama cries at stones. Why Mama cry at stones when Zixs is here?" James felt his heart clench. The child had been asking the same question for 3 days, unable to understand why they were being kept hidden from their grieving mother. "The grown-ups are having a disagreement," Lisa explained gently. "But we're working on fixing it." Through the window, they could see Kethara still kneeling at the grave, her form racked with sobs that sent ripples of blue light across her exoskeleton. Other Veltari had gathered at a respectful distance, their own shells flickering in sympathetic patterns of grief. James made his decision. Lisa, prepare Zixs for transport. James, the council can go to hell. His voice carried the steel that had gotten him through a dozen combat zones. I've spent 30 years patching up soldiers, colonists, and civilians. I've lost more patience than I can count. But I have never let politics decide who lives and who dies. He activated his communication panel. Medical Station Alpha to Ambassador Thexrin. This is Dr. Mitchell. I'm requesting an immediate emergency session of the council. The response came within minutes. Dr. Mitchell, you are ordered to maintain current protocols. Any deviation? James cut the transmission and headed for the medical bay where Zixs waited. The child looked up at him with those large, trusting eyes. Are we going to see Mama now? Zixs asked hopefully. Yes, little one. We're going to see Mama. As they walked toward the exit, Lisa fell into step beside him. You know this will end. Your career, she said quietly. James smiled for the first time in days. Some things matter more than careers. They stepped out into the cool morning air. Across the memorial garden, Kithara's head lifted at the sound of approaching footsteps. Her eyes widened as she saw the small figure walking between the two humans. Zixs. The word came out as a harmonic whisper of disbelief. The child broke free from their escorts and ran toward their mother with the unsteady gait of a young Veltari. Mama, why you cry? Zixs is here. Kithara's scream of joy echoed across the garden, her exoskeleton blazing with colors that had no name in standard, hues that meant love, relief, and overwhelming gratitude. She swept her child into all four arms, holding them as if they might disappear again. Other Veltari began approaching cautiously, their shells flickering with confusion and wonder. Ambassador Thexrin materialized at the garden's edge, his official robes billowing as he strode toward the reunion with obvious anger. Dr. Mitchell, he called out, this is a direct violation of... He stopped as Kithara looked up at him, then at James. Without releasing her child, she spoke in the formal cadence of her people. This human has given me back what I thought was lost forever. By our oldest laws, this creates a life debt that supersedes all political considerations. The other Veltari murmured agreement, their shells now pulsing with shades of respect and admiration, colors they typically reserved for their greatest heroes. James felt Lisa's hand squeeze his shoulder as Ambassador Thexrin's expression shifted from anger to something approaching awe. Perhaps, the ambassador said slowly, it is time we reconsidered our medical protocols. As Zixs chattered excitedly to their mother in their native language, James looked up at the alien sky and smiled. He'd probably be facing a court-martial within the week, but right now, watching a mother hold her child, none of that seemed to matter. Sometimes being human meant more than following orders. Sometimes it meant doing what was right, regardless of the consequences.